Do you also think this must be a custom visual? Then you will be surprised to know that this is 100% Power BI native column chart. We powered this column chart with some DAX, and we get the functionality of showing the differences this way. Yesterday, Gustav Dudek posted an amazing functionality in Power BI, which will look like a custom visual. But this is Power BI column chart, and we will create it from the scratch. Last week we posted a video about how can we create amazing data labels and pointers. But in this video, little different technique is required. So without any further delay, let's create this visual. In this dataset, I have a basic measure called sales total, and this will calculate the total sales in a given context. I also have this measure to calculate previous month's sales. First of all, I will create this small custom table, which I will use in the x-axis of my column chart. You can keep any appropriate name for this table and the column. Mention previous month and current month as text value in first two rows, and enter an empty string for the third row, which is very important in this entire solution. Now I can load this table, and will start creating my first DAX measure. Each step of this solution is very important. If you miss any single step, you may not be able to achieve the functionality shown at the first. So this is my first measure. Here I can just use a condition. If selected value of the metric column is current month, then it will calculate sales total, else it will calculate the previous month's sales. We already have these two basic measures. Alright. Next is to insert the line and clustered column chart, which is a Power BI native visual. I will create the measures for the lines, which are very interesting, but first, I will add the metric column in the x-axis and the newly created measure for the columns. Alright. Before I start formatting this visual, let me add a month slicer on this report page. Then select the visual and go to the formatting section. I will scroll down to the column colors. The important thing to notice here is, the color for the empty string should be same as the background of your visual. For the remaining two columns, you can select any color of your choice. Don't forget to sort the visual based on metric column. Before I move forward, let me remove the titles from x-axis and y-axis of this visual. I can even remove the header title for now. Alright. Now I need to create measures for two lines. This is very interesting. So I will create a new measure. I can name it as current month line. The expression is pretty simple, which is like this. If selected value from the metric column is equal to previous month, then it will return blank. Else it will calculate sales total. I want this line to start from the current month column towards the right direction. For the second line, I can use the previously created previous month measure. Now I need to apply an important change in this previous month measure. I will convert the type as dynamic. To save some time, I will use this already created format string. I have already posted videos about how to create these dynamic format strings. This will just show the difference between current and previous month along with the percentage difference. Apart from that, I will create another duplicate measure using the same previous month measure. I am doing this because I need to enable two error bars on the same measure. Because conditional formatting an error bar is not available, and I need dynamic colors for these arrows. So only thing I need to change here is the Unicode code, which in this case will be a down triangle. Alright. Now I can add this measure as well as the third line, but since the measure value is same, we will only see two lines. Line type should be dashed, stroke width is equal to 1. And the color should be same for all the three lines, so that it will look better. We don't need to show these legends, so I will disable it. Sometimes, you may see the secondary axis even if it is disabled, so you can once enable and then disable it, so that it will not show here. In my previous video, I already explained to you about the error bars, and how can we manipulate the upper and lower bounds, so that it will only show at required places. So I will create these two DAX measures, but it will be used differently. Please be very careful at this step. The expression for upper bound is, if selected value from the metric column is empty string, which is the third item in that column, and the previous month's sales is less than current month's sales, then it will be equal to the sales amount, else it is blank. If you have watched my previous video, you are definitely familiar with this concept. Now I can copy this entire DAX expression and use it for the lower bound measure. The only thing I need to change is, Here it will show only if previous month's sales is greater than current month's sales. The next step, which I am going to do, will clarify all your remaining doubts. From the error bar section, select the previous month measure and enable the bar for it. Here I will only use the upper bound and will leave the lower bound field as blank. As said, we don't have conditional formatting. I will select green color for this and select the marker type. Enable the error labels and select the same green color for this. If required, you can use the background color for the error labels. Now we have done the settings for positive changes, but still for negative changes, we don't have any indicator. So select the visual and scroll down again to the error bar section. This time select the duplicate previous month measure. And for the lower bound, use the newly created lower bound measure. This time I am leaving the upper bound field. Remaining formatting will be same as we did for previous bar. Here we will use red color for bar and the data label. Alright, we are now ready with our solution. And this visual is now working as expected. It is now showing the required variance. If you want to show the data labels for these two columns, you need to disable the data labels for all other measures, except the My Measure. So select these measures one by one, and then disable the data labels for it. Still, you will see a data label on the bottom of the error bars, which need to be taken care of using conditional formatting. I will create a measure, which I can name as Format Data Label. Here I will validate. If selected value from the metric column is empty string, then I will use a transparent color, else I can use gray color for the data labels. Fortunately, for the main data label, we already have the conditional formatting option, but same is not available for error bars. Here it is important to select the My Measure to apply the conditional formatting to it, because we are not showing the data labels for the lines. As we always do, I will select the conditional formatting measure here and click on OK. This way, we no longer see the data label, which was showing earlier at the bottom of the error bars, which was actually for the empty string. This is now perfectly working as expected. If you want to use the small multiples, you can do that. This visual will work same way for all the categories. We just need to reassign the colors for these columns. So again, I can select the default color as background color, and then set the remaining colors. Such solution was only possible with some custom visuals, but now you can achieve this functionality in Power BI native column charts. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for many such interesting videos on Power BI. Post your feedbacks and suggestions in comment box.